We already learned about quadrilaterals. We know that quadrilaterals have 4 sides and 4 angles. What we're going to learn today is how we can classify or sort quadrilaterals into different groups. It can be helpful to think of these groups as clubs. Each club has a special rule for who is allowed in. Before I start, you'll need these 4 colors of markers: blue, green, purple, and red. The first club is the Parallelogram Club, and we're going to use blue for the parallelograms. Use your blue marker and write in parallelogram for the first club. The Parallelogram Club is not very picky. In order to be a parallelogram, all a quadrilateral has to have is 2 pairs of parallel sides. Remember that parallel means the sides will never touch. Use your blue marker to outline the outer parallelogram. Lots of quadrilaterals get to be parallelograms. As long as the top and bottom sides are parallel and the left and right sides are parallel, then the shape is a parallelogram. The next club we're going to look at is the Rhombus Club, and we're going to use green for the Rhombus Club. Use your green marker to write the word rhombus. In order to be in the Rhombus Club, a quadrilateral has to have 4 equal sides and 2 pairs of parallel sides. We're going to use the green marker to outline the rhombus. Notice that the rhombus is inside the Parallelogram Club. The Rhombus Club is a little bit pickier. In order to be a rhombus, a quadrilateral also has to be a parallelogram. So a shape has to have 2 pairs of parallel sides and all 4 sides to be equal, meaning they have to be the same length. So if one side is 2 inches, then all 4 sides have to be 2 inches long. We could also say that all 4 sides have to be congruent. Congruent means that they're the same size. So that is the Rhombus Club. The next club is the Rectangle Club, and we're going to use purple for the rectangles. So use your purple marker to write in the word rectangle and to outline the rectangle in purple. Like the Rhombus Club, the Rectangle Club is a little bit pickier than the Parallelogram Club. In order to be in the Rectangle Club, a quadrilateral has to have 2 pairs of parallel sides and it has to have 4 right angles. That means that each angle needs to be 90 degrees. Notice that the green rhombus we outlined does not have 4 right angles, so this rhombus would not be in the Rectangle Club. For a rectangle, it doesn't matter if the sides are all the same length. They don't have to be the same length to be in the Rectangle Club. They just have to be parallel to each other and they have to have 4 right angles. So we're going to use red for the final club, which is the Square Club. The Square Club is the pickiest of all. Outline the square in red. Notice on your sheet that the square is inside the Rhombus Club, inside the Rectangle Club, and inside the Parallelogram Club. That means in order to be a square, a shape has to follow all 3 of these rules. So it has to have 2 pairs of parallel sides, it has to have 4 right angles, and it has to have 4 equal sides. So if one side is 2 inches, all 4 sides have to be 2 inches, and every corner has to be a right angle. That means I could also call a square a rhombus, I could also call a square a rectangle, I could also call a square a parallelogram, and I could also call a square a quadrilateral. All of these would be true statements. So sometimes we can call figures or shapes by more than one name. Let's look at a couple of examples. The red shape is a square. I could also call it a rectangle. I could also call it a rhombus, and I could call it a parallelogram. If a question asked you if a square was also a rectangle, that would be true. A square is a type of rectangle, so a square can always be called a rectangle. Let's look at the purple shape now. This cannot be a square because it does not have 4 equal sides, but it is a rectangle because it has 4 right angles. Since it does not have 4 equal sides like the red shape did, it also does not get to be a rhombus but it is a rectangle, and all rectangles are types of parallelograms. So when you're trying to classify different figures, it's helpful to look at your picture on your sheet with the different rules. You can check off what rules a shape follows to help you classify the shape.